Yesterday, there was a story and a video that went viral. The story came out of Anambra State. Well, let's get the details.
That's right. The Anambra State Police Command have condemned the assault on a female corps member, Jennifer Ologo, by local security operatives, describing the incident as unacceptable but pledged to ensure justice. This is according to the police PRO, Anambra Command, Tochukwu Ikenga. Let me quote him. The video is very wrong. What we did to that lady is very, very wrong. Assuring that the command is committed to ensuring residents' safety. The video of security operatives under the umbrella of Operation Udokachi, also known as Agune Chamber Vigilante Group, beating and later stripping the corps member naked in Oba community in the Demili South local government area had gone viral. Vigilantes have stormed the corps member's lodge in Oba, accusing her and her colleagues of being fraudsters. Despite presenting her identification card, the security operatives beat her up, tore her clothes, and stripped her naked.
Well, let me start by asking, when did it become the place of vigilantes to go after fraudsters?
Okay.
I've always said this on this platform. Give an average Nigerian small power, give him uniform, and if you want to make matters worse, just give him gun. You begin to see an ugly side of that person. And this is exactly what happens when you give weapons to people who are untrained. When you give weapons to people who do not understand human rights. When you give weapons to touts and agboros, this is bound to be the outcome. You claim you were running after cultists and fraudsters, and they ran into a compound. You went into the compound for some strange reasons. You didn't go after the male folks, but an innocent lady descended on her. About six heavy men kept hitting her, slapping her like she stole something. Even while she was screaming at the top of her voice, the beating did not stop. So it was obvious that these men actually enjoyed what they were doing. They kept dragging her clothes until they tore it and she was stark naked. So when some Nigerians kick against state police, actions like this justify their stance because they believe that state police will be used to abuse the rights of Nigerians. It's quite unfortunate. I was listening to the girl's lawyer this morning on one of the national televisions, and contrary to what the police is saying this morning, the lawyer clearly stated that the police has not reached out to the lady. What Ikenga, the PPRO of the Anambra State Police Command, painted a picture that they tried investigating, but investigation stalled because the girl was not forthcoming. But the lawyer on national television this morning said that was not the situation. That contrary, Nysc, that is supposed to be speaking on behalf of this corps member, defending her rights, called her and others who were present during the incident. Guess what they did? Asked them to delete the videos. Practically forced them to delete the videos. If not that these young Nigerians were wise enough to have sent some of these videos to some persons in anticipation that something like this would happen, by now there would be no evidence. Because the NYSC officials, the lawyer practically mentioned the director in Anambra State. They wanted the story to die a natural death. And I want to ask a question to the NYSC officials in Anambra State. If this lady was to be your daughter, who was in her house innocently.
Oh,
She did not step out of her house. These men came to her house, manhandled her the way they did. Would you be fair enough to say delete the video and let it die a natural death? Or is it a case of when you see the corpse of another person, you think it is firewood? We've lost our humanity. Things that we should carry on our head and ensure that it doesn't happen again. We'll sweep it under the cover because under the rug because it doesn't affect us directly. This kind of a thing is supposed to generate public outcry. So loud enough that by now these men would be chilling in jails. But that is not the situation. As we speak, it is obvious that the state government is even trying to cover the whole matter. Because according to the lawyer this morning, the men who perpetrated these things, they are not even in jail like the police is trying to make us believe, or the Anambra state government officials. The lawyer said they are still walking around freely in Anambra state. So why won't they tomorrow do the same thing and tell you go to hell, nothing would happen? Because they did it yesterday, nothing happened. I don't know the kind of society we are creating or we are evolving into as a people. It's appalling because I just cannot imagine if that lady was to be my daughter. It's either, well, the good thing, at least, she has a good lawyer who's fighting for her. And Nigerians, please, this should not go the way of other incidents. Let's speak up. If it's a post you can make on Facebook, go ahead. If it's a tweet, go ahead, tweet it. We cannot continue like this. If things like this happen and you don't talk, you never can tell whose turn it will be tomorrow. So we need to condemn it and ensure that those who perpetrated this thing face the consequences of their action. Otherwise, tomorrow, it will be some other person and nothing would happen.
you know, I missed marrying someone, even though I have no regrets, because the mother served in Abia State and she had very bad experience with certain people in Abia State. So when her son took me for introduction and opened his mouth and said, I am from Abia State, the mother said over her dead body that this marriage will happen. The son refused to listen to his mother, went ahead and did introduction, thinking that maybe after the introduction, the mother will soft pedal. She did not. That was the first marital humiliation of my life. That after an introduction ceremony, while neighbors and church members were waiting for dates for traditional wedding, they heard that the marriage had packed up. What happened? Experience. This girl that went to serve in Anambra State, do you think if she finished her NYSC, if she carry here Igbo land, she will wage war in spirit and in death? Even her children, if any of them say, mommy, I'm going to Anambra, she will say, I die here. You know, sometimes when we do things, we do not know the consequences of our actions. Not just today, but tomorrow. And that the people who may suffer the consequences may not be those who perpetrated it.
Exactly.
Like in my case now, that I suffered because one disgruntled element from Abia State treated the woman that would have been my mother-in-law very badly. Like I said, I have no regret because I married a good man. So, what's the point? This girl consistently said, I am a core member. In fact, the first time I didn't even know she said that. I was shouting at Ben. I said, is she crazy? Why can't she say she's a core member? If not the lawyer who now mentioned that she even showed ID card.
Exactly.
They were still beating her. Let's even assume she did something bad. What happened to arresting her, taking her to jail, chamber cell? When did beating up people become part of the process for arrests? Now there's this culture I've noticed amongst our people. When a woman commits a crime, when they're beating her, if they don't strip her naked, they will not feel satisfied. They believe that because your body is your pride, the only way to dehumanize you and put an injury you will never forget is to strip you naked. We've watched several videos like that. women who were either culpable for something or suspected to have committed a crime, and they were stripped naked. I mean, what's the point? What do you want to achieve? Let the world see her nakedness. So that's what will happen. You know, it's a very terrible culture amongst our people. If she's wrong, punish her. Why stripping her naked? And you did not only strip her, you were beating her continue. 5 men. Oh Jesus. And she was unarmed. She did not fight back. How do you feel when you're hitting somebody, 5 men? The person did not revenge. The person is just begging, please, please, please. That was the only thing she kept saying. But you kept beating her. Why is our humanity? Unfortunate.